up, everybody? Welcome to the iProv vlog. This is Jordan Smith, VP of Sales and Marketing, and as always, I've got my lovely, intelligent, successful co-host, Patrick Laughlin, COO of iProv. What up, Pat?
What up, Joe? With an intro like that, I don't need to say any more. I'm done. I will tell you, I have an excuse. I have 3 other people's laundry to do to be wearing the same shirt that I was wearing Wednesday. What's your excuse, Joe? It's just you and the dog.
Hey, so today we're going to talk about expanding your impact. Listen, it's a short week. It's a holiday day. I hope all you guys get a long weekend. I know we are at iProv, so.
Absolutely. Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day. So, hey, today we want to talk about expanding your impact, and specifically within the realms of a book that I read a long time ago, and I was just talking about how I want to reread it, but that Pat's reading now, a great book called The Go-Giver.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing book. It's funny too, as we were talking about the book and sort of ideas that came from it for this show, I go back and I think about every sort of big deal I ever closed or every great client I ever had. It really came directly from some of these rules that are in this book. And, this is my first time reading it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just intuition or, the universe speaking to, or just the way I'm wired. But, the idea of finding a way to give more value than you get, and then doing that as many times as you can, that's always been successful for me. But once again, I wasn't, until I got a lot further in my career, I wasn't always privy to the financial side of that. I knew that it generated a lot more clients, it generated a lot more work. I just assumed it generated more financial impact. And as you get into leadership and you start to see the numbers more, you realize that some of that isn't always true. But I think that is also myopic because you're so focused on that month's numbers or that quarter's numbers, and you're not looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the lesson there.
Well, and value doesn't necessarily have to be linked to a service or a product either. They talk in the book a lot about just ways to build relationships. Just for a synopsis, and if you haven't read it, I would encourage all you guys. How many pages is it? Like 150, 120?
Yeah, it's only like 150 pages. It's a couple hours reading.
Yeah, a couple afternoons on the couch, and during the long weekend you can bang it out, and it's all told through a story. But it's about this individual and how they got success, and this individual kind of mentoring a younger salesperson to try to figure out, how are you doing so well? You don't do anything. All you do is meet with people. And so it's within that, but they lay out these kind of steps or these rules for being successful. And we don't want to spoil anything. But Pat, talk about some of the specific things that you've pulled out so far that kind of resonated with you.
Well, the one that resonated with me and the one that I really would love to hear you talk about, because it's something that you do tremendously well, is that your income is determined by how many people you can serve and how well you serve them. And I think that is just a perfect model for sales. And so the other thing that sort of goes along that's in that chapter is sometimes you feel foolish and you even look foolish, but you do the thing anyway.
Yeah.
I've never met a salesperson that was afraid of looking stupid or ignorant, because that's their job. They come in and they ask questions. So talk about that some, Joe, because you are tremendous, not at going in and looking foolish. That's not what I'm trying to say.
Like, hold on. Never met a salesperson that didn't look foolish.
You are tremendous at sort of putting your ego aside and digging in and building relationships quickly. It's one of your superpowers. Talk about how you do that and how it's affected your career trajectory.
Well, I think they talk about it. I think maybe they talk about it in the book a little bit. I was just telling Pat, it's been a long time since I read it. So I was actually saying I need to go back to the office today and grab it because I want to get through it again this weekend. But a lot of it is about just intent. and being intentional about expanding your impact. Intent drives everything. So if you go in there and you're just looking to sell something for the highest price that you can, so you can move on and go to the next one, they're going to read that all over you. If you go in there with the intent of, let me figure out how I can provide the most value in this section of time that this individual has agreed to speak with me, and let the chips fall where it may after that, then more than likely, even if you don't get a sale, you're going to start to build that relationship that might turn into something down the road, whether it's a sale, whether it's an introduction to one of their buddies, whether it's just a good contact to have in the business world, which even with everything being digital and we're talking to you through Zoom, we know that it's still about building those types of relationships. So there's a lot of different tips and tricks, but I would say kind of the big strategy is just be intentional about what you want. And what you should want is just making the most impact in the amount of time that you have.
Well, and it also says, that your compensation, how much you can grow your business is directly proportionate to how many people you can touch. And that hits home because that's what we do for a living. We magnify and amplify people's businesses. But, from an individual level, what are some things that have been successful for you, Joe, in terms of being able to touch as many people as possible and provide value?
I would just go back to intent. It's being intentional, putting down goals. We're talking about expanding your impact. How many people do you want to get in front of this week? Is it 2? Is it 5? Is it 20? Is it 50? All right, well, be intentional about making sure that your time is spent doing that. Because if not, you're not going to get there. I can sit around and say I want to get in front of 6 people every single day, but if I don't do things to get there and I just sit there and stare at the phone and wait for it to ring, it's just not going to happen. So not only be intentional about what you want the conversation to be once you get in that room, but be intentional about how you're going to get in the room. Figure out what are the different things you're going to do to get there.
Yeah.
So it sounds really simplistic, but I would narrow it down to that. Again, there's lots of tactics you can do and think about, but just from an overall strategy, just be really intentional about how you're going to expand your impact.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to be perceived as foolish. Honestly, that's what we're doing now. We're trying to hit as many people as we can, reach out, provide value to them, because the chances of us selling anything directly from this vlog is really small. And if that was our intention, it is a really bad use of our time. The truth is, we're doing this and learning how to do it, looking like idiots some days.
Most days.
And trying to touch as many people as we can and provide value.
Absolutely.
So on that note, this is going to be a little curveball for you, Joe. In order to provide a little more value, the first 5 people to comment on this video, I'm going to buy them a copy of The Go-Giver because I want to provide more value than I get. So leave a comment and I will send you a copy of The Go-Giver. First 5 win.
That's perfect. Guys, take advantage of that. First 5, free book. Just comment, yep, agree, thumbs up, whatever the case may be. I love that idea. So, all right, get out there, make an impact, be intentional, be a fool in a good way. Have a great weekend, and until next time, get your free book. Peace, peeps.